When I think of Kingston, the things that come to mind are obviously the history, the universities, and then it's the arts, like right there.
My goal is to have an art gallery someday.
So you've got a kind of a small town feel, but you've got kind of the big town or the big city amenities.
And people will be like, wow, Elton John's coming to Kingston? Like it blows their mind.
There's a really strong arts community in Kingston, but I think that there are some challenges that they face.
I think it's tough because you do have that really specific sort of downtown vibe within Kingston of things happening in that city centre.
It's the outskirts of Kingston. There are all these little hubs popping up, and there are people who love to go and check out live music in these areas, as well as galleries. You know, even as far as Picton, like, there are some incredible things going on around here. I played up at the Wintergreen studio a few weeks ago. Oh, it's gorgeous, and it was a packed house. And most of the people came from Kingston.
You know, the biggest divide in Kingston is the causeway. So it doesn't matter if you're, but I mean, there's a big population out here of the military on the east, and there's a big population on the west. That's essentially where they settle in.
A good transit system will allow people to get around the city more easily, regardless of their income, right? And so part of justifying arts is that you democratize it. And that means everybody can get accessibility to the arts and can partake as well.
If there's something that appeals to my kids, that I can bring my kids to, that makes it easier for me to participate. So if there's an exhibit in the park of art, that's something I can bring my kids to, as opposed to going to a gallery.
It gets your attention, right? And that's the whole point of interventionist or public art it's out of that context. It's surprising. I don't expect, and it shakes people out of their day-to-day walks or activities or their normal way of engaging with the city. And so then the city is really a potential for anything to be art. You can put art anywhere.
Kingston's like behind the times. Like Kingston's missing out because they overlook this whole youth culture and almost dismiss it. You know what I mean? Like we got 10 hockey rinks that people can go skate on in the winter, nowhere to kids to skateboard. And like there's nowhere for people to go paint public artwork.
Most of our shows are at least attempt to be all ages. There's the odd one that's not, I guess more so now than it was originally, but that was always the main thing when we first started doing shows, is we always wanted it to be all ages. And if it wasn't, we would pretty much not do the show.
We're trying to create events where people in our community who may not have felt comfortable, you know, going to particular places or events could find a space to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel that you know, their identity or their cultural background or their talents are kind of reflected in the places that they're going to.
There are so many things happening in Kingston. For a city this size, it seems so vibrant and so diverse. But I wonder if all of those wonderful individual organizations, if there was a sort of more maybe working together in terms of coordinating or getting the message out, it might be a little bit more effective. I think one thing that I have heard is that it's individual voices wanting to be heard.
I would just like to see maybe more conversation from one group to another. You know, you're having this event and it's going to be great, and we want to have an event that day too, but maybe we can find a way to time it so that it's appealing to go to both, or sell a ticket that gets you into both things.
One thing I've thought would be beneficial for everybody is if there was one common website or local zine, like similar to Now magazine.
Every event is different, and I never know how many people is going to come, and sometimes I'm running all over the place and borrowing chairs because we don't have enough. Wow. And sometimes it's like, where are the people?
I take all the staff on 2 separate days, take them to see, the sites of Kingston, so, Fort Henry and the Thousand Islands Cruises, but some of the smaller venues as well, like the Agnes Etherington Arts Centre. We spend, a couple of hours there. We try to keep our staff well versed in those things.
The last maybe 5 or 6 years we've been featuring jazz at the library on Sunday afternoons. So we have, the library is partnering with the Jazz Society in the city to house it, and we get great audiences out.
Faculty of Education contacted me about doing an alternative practicum here. And so a bunch of the teacher candidates come here. Last year we wrote a play about math and did it for 29 schools. We did it for like 2,000 school kids.
We've had a great partnership that, from what I understand, it actually was happening before I became a teacher here with the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. And I believe this year was the 12th year, so it's our 12th year working together with them.
We are very connected to the community theatres in Eastern Ontario anyway. We think with this facility we will be able to be more connected with the groups in town.
La population de Kingston est d'environ 5 000 personnes. Plusieurs de ces 5 000 personnes-là proviennent du militaire. Fait que nous, ici, le théâtre, c'est sûr qu'on ne peut pas seulement dépendre de la population de 5 000 personnes. C'est pour cette raison-là qu'on doit offrir et ouvrir notre théâtre à tous les autres groupes et tout le reste de la communauté de Kingston pour qu'on puisse arriver à faire fonctionner le théâtre. Donc, c'est un de nos défis aussi.
When I came to Kingston, as a graduate student here in 2003, 2004, I had a really hard time going out to public spaces here, pubs or dances that were kind of playing any kind of music from a different part of the world, and I found it really funny coming from Ottawa or Toronto, where there's so many different bands or music or things that are played. So I really wanted to participate in Soul Shakedown to really help push that. And through that, we were able to attract organizations like the Kingston Latino Group, who normally would always come to us and say, oh, there's nothing really happening in Kingston, nobody plays Latino music here. So they were so thrilled to find that we have a Latino DJ on our collective who plays a lot of music. So now we're attracting members from the community. It's like audience development. We're creating new members of Soul Shakedown, new attendees of Soul Shakedown that we didn't necessarily have before because of the music that we're playing and the work that we're doing.
People with addictions are not just defined by their addiction. And so there's an awful lot of people with addictions who also are very creative. And that also what we wanted to do was get together people who were clients of Street Health, who had any kind of musical background, and produce a set of original tunes in order to play at this Art on the Street event.
There seems to be, they realize the power of it, both in, helping depression, in addressing disturbing issues, because it gives you that distance, making people laugh. Look at the Globe Theatre, how cathartic that is, getting rid of your violence, just the power of the theatre and especially puppets.
Meaningful connections for me, personal connections, happen in your own town.
I think Kingston has a really good art community. It's scattered. You sort of got to get your foot in the door and get people to know you. But once you do, they accept you.
There's a lot of really great support in this community, and I think a lot of really amazing energy and drive. So I only see things getting better from here.